How's it going, YouTube? Welcome back to your favorite aviation channel. Today I'm very excited to bring to you all a huge airport update for Chicago O'Hare International Airport Terminal 1 Concourse C. This is the fourth new model airport that I'm bringing to you all this summer, as I have a rather ambitious goal of doing a new model airport every week. As some of you may know, I am doing summer courses at the local community college this summer. They're 8-week courses, 8 credit hours as well, so they are quite rigorous. As of now, we are currently in the third week. Well, when you're watching this video, that'll mark the beginning of my third week of summer semester. It has been quite the grind so far, combined with a part-time job, working a couple days a week. But I'll do my best to pull through. In terms of videos, obviously my studies come first, so we'll see how that plays out going forward. At this moment when you're watching this video, I have about 5 or so weeks left in the summer semester. It's been going by very, very fast, and I'm going to do my best to get these courses done with, and then we'll see what happens, simultaneously, if I can get these videos out, with my studies, being involved in that. We'll see what happens, but I'm super excited to do this video today. For those that have been somewhat longtime viewers of my channel, you might remember back in 2020 I did a airport update for Concourse C of Terminal 1. That was a little basic as well. There wasn't much detail in it. It was just it was a pretty big update, but it wasn't as detailed as this one is. There is no time frame in today's video. It's just a whole bunch of United planes. Not even my entire fleet, surprisingly. I have a lot of United planes. I wasn't able to get into this update, surprisingly. That's how big my fleet has gotten. I can't even believe it. But this is the vast majority of my United collection. There's a good amount of planes that aren't even in this video, but this is a good chunk of it that you'll see. So again, no time frame, but all the routes that you'll see in this update are realistic. But I just wanted to get as many planes in this video as I could to make it fun for you all. So without further ado, let's begin. I'll give you guys a quick tour of my setup. Alright, so here is a little overview of the diorama here, Terminal 1 Concourse C. This is one of 2 concourses at Terminal 1 at Chicago O'Hare. The other one, of course, being Concourse B. If you've seen a bunch of my trip reports on United from O'Hare, you should probably be well acquainted with this terminal and the setup. Concourse C is a satellite concourse, so there's no landside access to it. It's connected to Concourse B via an underground walkway, which would be like right here. The tunnel of lights, amazing light show. I think I've shown that quite a few times in my videos as well. So I think it's about 28, 29 gates at this concourse, and I think I was able to get every single one of them. So here's a little overhead shot of it. I'll put in like a Google Maps image of it right now so you can kind of compare, see how accurate mine is. It's not the best replica, but I think I got the overall shape down. I think it's better than the previous one I did back in 2020. I also have a lot more planes, which makes it a bit more interesting as well. So at the moment, it's only United operating from this concourse. Before the pandemic, ANA, All Nippon Airways, they used to operate flights from here. Of course, they would arrive into Terminal 5, the international terminal, and then they would taxi empty, I think either one of their flights or both of their flights, because you have to understand, before the pandemic, ANA had 2 daily passenger flights here. We had one from Tokyo Narita and one from Tokyo Haneda. Unfortunately, with the pandemic, they ended, I think, Haneda, and so all we have now is Tokyo Narita on ANA, and then Japan Airlines is actually doing the Tokyo Haneda service. But pre-pandemic, we had one ANA flight in the morning. It would come in from Tokyo Haneda at 7 or so a.m., and then it would depart out to Tokyo Narita at 11 or so a.m. And then around 2 p.m. we'd have the second flight come in from Narita, and then it would depart at 5, 6 p.m. out to Haneda. So they would kind of flip-flop. And so I believe one of those flights would use Concourse C. I think it would be the evening, the afternoon flight, 2 p.m. arrival, 6 p.m. It would depart at 6 p.m. from Concourse C to Haneda. So I would see it a lot parked at one of these 4 gates. You can probably see this picture right now that I have of ANA 777 and some United 777s. This was back in 2017. They also used Concourse B with Lufthansa, B16 and B17, and that's what they use right now, actually. I think because they only have one flight. ANA has one passenger flight. They have a lot of cargo flights to Chicago, but they have one passenger flight now to from and to Tokyo Narita. And I guess because they only have one flight, they've consolidated it just to Concourse B, which is unfortunate because I was actually initially, I put my ANA 777-300ER right here, but then I was looking up the flights and then I realized, oh, they don't fly out of Concourse C anymore. They only fly out of Concourse B now, which is unfortunate. So it's all United now, and that's replicated in this update as well. Gate numbers is, I think, here's my cheat sheet here, Google Maps. So as you can see, it starts at C1 right here where this E175 is, goes all the way around to C31, so all the way till I think it's where that 737 is, or no, that A320, that's C31, and then that's C30, and then it comes all the way around, and then that's, I think, C2. So yeah, that's all I have to say really. There's not much else to Concourse C. I mean, it's a pretty cool concourse. Terminal 1 is pretty nice. It has a lot of like natural light coming in because there's a lot of, you know, the windows on the top of the, you know, terminal is pretty cool and stuff. I don't know what I'm saying, but let's get into the actual routes. I don't want to waste too much time because in the previous couple updates I've just spent too much time in the beginning rambling about random stuff, but I think that's all I have to say. So let's get started with the first aircraft. So of course we'll start over here at gate C1 with this United Express Embraer 175 operated by, I believe, SkyWest. This aircraft came in from Savannah, Georgia as flight 5448 and is going to be departing out to Toronto Pearson in Canada as flight 5422. Next up at gate C3 we have the United Express Bombardier Mitsubishi CRJ550 operated by GoJet Airlines. This aircraft came in from Dayton, Ohio as flight 4411 and will be departing out to Bentonville, Northwest Arkansas Regional Airport, or XNA, as flight 4497. At gate C5 we have the United Express CRJ200 operated by SkyWest. This aircraft came in from Wichita, Kansas as flight 4783 and it's going to be departing out to Muskegon, I don't know how to pronounce that city. MKG is the airport code, so Muskegon, Michigan as flight 5099. So real quick, before I go on, just want to mention that the bulk of United Express operations you will find at Concourse E and F and Terminal 2. So pretty much all of the CRJ700s and CRJ550s and the 200s, they all go out of Concourse E and Concourse F and Terminal 2. Maybe one or two a day CRJ200s will park at Concourse C. A little more at Concourse B, but very, very rare, maybe one or two flights a day of CRJ200s, they will park at Concourse C, so not much. The most you'll see in terms of regional jets at Concourse C is the Embraer 175s, that's really it. And then the CRJ550s and 700s, like I said, they are almost all at Terminal 2, Concourses E and F. You'll rarely see them at Concourse C these days. You'll see a few maybe at Concourse B, but when I was researching this last night, looking up all the flights, I did not see a single CRJ700 or 550 go to Concourse C. They were all literally Concourse E or F. I saw maybe one or two CRJ200s, but no 550s or 700s. All of these are at Concourse E and F. And then, like I said, you'll see a few, you'll see quite a few Embraer 175s and 170s at Concourse C, but yeah, I just want to make a quick mention of that. Moving on to gate C7 here, we have the United Express Embraer 170, operated by Republic Airways. This aircraft came in from Charleston, South Carolina as flight 3561. It'll be spending the night here, and then tomorrow morning it'll operate a flight back out to Charleston, South Carolina as flight 3710. At gate C9 we have the United Airlines Boeing 737-700, arrived in from Washington Reagan National DCA as flight 1142. And next is going to be operating flight 1503 out to Syracuse, New York. Next up here at gate C11 we have the United 767-300ER, arrived earlier from London Heathrow as flight 928, arrived into Terminal 5 of course as it's an international arrival that is not pre-cleared, and then it got towed over here to Terminal 1, Concourse C, and at gate C11 now he's going to be boarding up soon for another flight to London Heathrow, departing out there as flight 931. And then next door at C15 is another 767. This also came in from Heathrow earlier today as flight 929, and of course arrived into Terminal 5. And then after about an hour there, got towed to Terminal 1, Concourse C here, now pushing back for a flight to Zurich, Switzerland as Flight 3. That's a pretty cool flight number there. So I've covered this in a previous aviation news video. It's called, I think, United Airlines Insane or Huge 2022 Expansion. It covers their international routes for 2022. And in that video, I covered a huge surplus of flights that they've added to London this summer. They have a lot of flights, I think 22 daily flights to Heathrow across a bunch of hub cities. So Chicago, San Francisco, LA, Houston, Boston, which Boston isn't even a hub, but they have Boston to Heathrow now. You have Newark, Dulles, everything. Literally every single hub they have at least one daily flight to Heathrow. So Chicago, I think, has 3, and I think they're all on 767s. So you can see that replicated here. And I thought that was quite cool to get 2 767s right next to each other. You'll see this quite often. I've seen it before. And so I thought it'd be really nice to replicate this here. Next up here at gate C17, we have the United A319. Arrived earlier from Atlanta as flight 299 and will soon be departing out to Austin, Texas as flight 2440. Next up here at gate C19, we have the 757-200, arrived in from Newark as flight 1502 and will be departing out to Orlando, Florida as flight 2463. And then next to that at C21, we have another 757-200, this time in the older livery, the post-merger, Continental Globe livery. This aircraft also came in from Newark, this time flight 1535, and will soon be departing out to Dublin, Ireland as flight 980. So there we go, 2 757-200s here. I don't have a 757-300. Sadly, I really hope somebody makes that soon. Those are pretty common here at Chicago, flying to like Denver, San Francisco, and LAX, mainly those 3 cities. So yeah, we get a lot of 757-300s. 757-200s we've been getting these a little more often lately, mainly from Newark and Dulles. They'll fly here and then operate some, smaller, lower demand international routes like those to Dublin. And pre-pandemic, we had Shannon, Ireland. We also had Reykjavik, Iceland, which I believe is still going on. I don't know if they've started that up yet, but Dublin, Shannon, and Reykjavik, those 3 international routes we had on 757-200s. So really cool. It's a beautiful plane. I love the 757, and I'm glad that we're getting them here in Chicago. At gate C23 here, we have the United 737-800, came in as flight 407 from Tampa. I think 407 is the area code for Tampa. I know for sure it's for Orlando, so I haven't done my research. I'm not sure if Tampa's area code is also 407. I don't think it is, but if it is, that's pretty funny. Would have been better if flight 407 operates from Orlando, but it doesn't. They fly it from Tampa for some reason. But yeah, that came in from there, and then it's going to operate a flight out to Newark, New Jersey as flight 224. Next to that is a 737-900ER in the new livery. I'm not sure why I never mentioned new livery before, but whatever. This is a 737-900. I think this is C25. Arrived earlier from Cancun, Mexico's flight 1196. It arrived into Terminal 5, and then it got taxied or towed over here, empty to Terminal 1, Concourse C. And then now it's going to be operating flight 2316 to San Diego, California. Alright, next to that at C27 is another 737-900ER. This one is in the Continental Retro livery. And this aircraft came in from Seattle, Washington as flight 2245 and is going to be operating flight 2084 to San Francisco, California in about 30 minutes. We'll be pushing back momentarily. And just getting pulled in here to gate C29, we have the United 787-10. Arrived into Terminal 5 earlier from Rome, Italy as flight 971. And now from here it'll be operating departure out to Los Angeles, California as flight 2095. Around 2020 we used to get a lot of 787-10s, and then like 2021 they all kind of disappeared. Thankfully this summer a lot of 787-10s are back in Chicago now. We get them to, like I just said here, we get them to Rome, and we get them I believe to Frankfurt as well. Frankfurt, Brussels maybe. We get them to a nice variety of routes, and especially Hawaii. I didn't even know this, but up until like a few weeks ago, United's been operating the 787-10 to Honolulu, Kahului, and Kona, all 3 nonstop Hawaii flights from Chicago. We get the 787-10 on all 3 of those flights now, which is super cool. Because I didn't even know Kona could handle the 787-10, but apparently they can, and that's super cool. So Yeah, this is C29. This is, I didn't even know this was a wide body gate until, I looked it up on Google Maps. I've never been to this gate before, mainly because I think it's in a weird part of the concourse. You can see it's all the way at the end here. So I've never had a flight from C29, and I've never seen a wide body here too, but they do fly from here, and it's usually the 787. I don't think they fly anything else from here. It's mostly 787-9s and 10s, whatever, that they fly from C29, so really cool to see that. Next up here we have the United A320. This aircraft is here at C31, arrived from Rochester, New York as flight 2662, and is next going to be operating flight 2189 out to Portland, Oregon. Alright, so up until now we've been covering all of the odd numbered gates on the east side of the concourse. Now we're over here on the west side of Concourse C. We're going to start with the even numbered gates now, over here at gate C30. First aircraft is a United 737-700, came in from Myrtle Beach, South Carolina as flight 2173, and is next up going to be operating flight 2310 out to Orange County, John Wayne Airport, Santa Ana, California. And then next up over here at C28 is 737-900. This aircraft came in from San Francisco as flight 1780 and is going to be operating flight 2290 back out to San Francisco. At C26 is 737-800, came in from Houston as flight 503 and is going to be operating, I believe it's a repositioned flight, very interesting flight number, flight 8100 back out to Houston. I was really surprised when I was looking at all these flights yesterday, just how many of the same, how many planes come in from one place and they go back out to the same place. It's kind of weird, especially considering O'Hare is a hub for United, but I guess it makes sense because, San Francisco's a hub, Houston's also a hub, so I guess that kind of makes sense. But it was interesting. It happened a lot more than I thought it would when I was looking up all these flights yesterday. Okay, C24, United A319 here, just arrived, waiting for the gate to attach here. Landed from Burlington, Vermont as flight 624 and is going to be operating flight 2052 out to Dallas, Fort Worth in about 2 hours. Over here at gate C22, pushing back is the United A320 in the stars. And can you see that? Can you focus? There we go. United A320 in the stars and bars retro livery. I'm not sure if it's focusing well on it. This aircraft arrived from Boston as flight 408, sorry about that, and is now pushing back for Kansas City as flight 1557. And I mentioned this in a previous airport update for like Illinois Gateway or something. They recently brought this airplane back into service. It was stored for a very, very long time, but they recently reactivated it, and that's very, very exciting to see. Alright, now for a nice little wide body streak here at gate C20 here is a United 777-200ER in the Star Alliance livery. This aircraft is getting heavily serviced for its flight out to Frankfurt as flight 906. It arrived earlier from Frankfurt as well as flight 907, of course, at Terminal 5. Then it got towed over here. You guys know the drill. It's subbing in for a 787-10. That's what we usually get to Frankfurt these days. I believe Munich as well is a 787-10, or maybe that's a 787-9, I don't know. But we don't get as many 777s on the international flights these days, sadly. Yeah, not too many 777s now on the international routes. It's mainly 767 and 787, but I only have I have one 787-10, one 787-8, one 787-9, so kind of limited on what I can do here, so I had to throw in the 777-200 here, subbing in as a service to Frankfurt. That's what it was pre-pandemic as well. We used to get 777-200s everywhere, Munich, Frankfurt, I believe Paris, Milan, London, but then we had also 767s to London, Paris, Amsterdam, Zurich, Brussels, something like that. So yeah, nice GSE action going on there. And then moving on here, we have another 777-200. This is one of the 777-200 non-ERs, one of the domestic configured 777-200s. Bit of an interesting thing here, this aircraft is powered by the Pratt & Whitney PW4000 engines. If you haven't been keeping up with the United Airlines news lately, a bunch of these, all of the Pratt & Whitney 777s were grounded the past year following a major engine issue incident that happened last year on one of these airplanes when it was climbing out of Denver. So due to safety reasons, they grounded their entire fleet of 50 plus 777-200 ERs and non-ERs powered by the Pratt & Whitney engines. I've covered this topic in 2 videos, I believe, 2 previous videos, so be sure to check those out if you want more information on that situation. But these are all pretty much back in service. They got them back in the skies really quickly, and they're already back operating the routes that they were meant to do. So this is a perfect example. This is one of the non-ER 777-200s, domestic configured ones. This aircraft came in from Denver as flight 1155, and that's it. Just pulled into the gate, and in about an hour or two, it'll operate flight 1821 back out to Denver. So these planes, back in the day, not really back in the day, but before the engine issues, that's a better way to put it, before the grounding last year, they were mainly used on hub-to-hub routes, and especially those to Hawaii, Chicago to Honolulu, Chicago to Kahului, Houston, Honolulu, for example, and of course trunk routes between hubs like Chicago-Denver, that's a big one, Chicago-San Francisco, Denver to Houston, these kind of hub-to-hub routes where there's a lot of demand, they would mainly use these on. There's like 360 seats, I can't remember the exact number, but there's a good amount of seats in these things. So when they were grounded, not just the domestic 777s, but also the international ones, United was missing out on a lot of capacity. So it's really good news that they're back in service now. United can get those numbers up, get more passengers where they want to be, and hopefully I'll see some of these soon, because it's been about a year or so since I last saw one of these Pratt & Whitney powered 777s. So hopefully I'll get to see one of these very soon. It's been a long time. I'm very, very happy to see them back in the skies, though. All right, moving on to C16. Is that what that is, C16? Yeah. 787-9 came in from Los Angeles as flight 2039, now getting heavily serviced for a departure out to Paris Charles de Gaulle as flight 987. And then moving over here to gate C12, it's C12 and C10. That jetway right there that's not used, that's C12, and the one next to it is C10. I don't know how this works, because I've boarded the 777. I took the 777-300ER out of this gate last year to Orlando, and what happened was that we were only using this jetway for C10. They didn't bring in the other jetway for C12. I guess it's because it's another gate, and I don't know why they didn't do that, but they boarded an entire 777-300ER in this one jetway through the L1 door. So C10 it's not a fun gate. I don't really like that gate at all, but I don't think I don't know. I've never seen them use both gates, but then again, I haven't spent enough time at C10 to really know what I'm talking about, but yeah, that jetway right there is C12, and then this one jetway is C10. So I'm not sure what they do here. I'm assuming most of the time, if it's a wide body, they'll probably use C10 and just board the entire plane through C10's jetway, which is really inefficient and time consuming, but whatever. Over here is the 787-8. This aircraft came in from Milan, Italy as flight 415. Of course, arrived into Terminal 5, then got towed over here, you know the drill, and now it's going to operate flight 416 back out to Milan. This is one of the only 787-8 routes that we have right now. I can't remember the other ones, because previously we had Kona, Hawaii on the 788 as well, but that's been upgraded to a 787-10. So now I guess all we have is Milan, and then all the other ones are 787-10s or 9s and 767s. So, but it's cool. You got to see all 3 787 variants in this update, and I think this is the first time I'm showing this plane in a video too, so that's cool. Alright, last 2 planes, and they're both CRJ-7s. Right here is the, at C6, CRJ-700 United Express, operated by SkyWest. This aircraft came in from Aspen, Colorado as flight 5702, and is going to be departing back out to Aspen, Colorado as flight 5994 with a hefty 18-hour delay. This actually happened. It was one of these SkyWest registered CRJ-700s. Go check it up. Check it on Flight Radar 24. UA 5994 had a hefty delay, 18 hours to Aspen, which is crazy. Last plane of the update here, another CRJ-700. This is operated by GoJet. I'm just going to say it's one of those CRJ-550s that they reconfigured, but they didn't repaint, because there are a few of those flying around. This aircraft came in from Norfolk, Virginia as flight 4193, and is going to be operating flight 4401 out to Des Moines, Iowa. And then, like I said, You wouldn't see too many CRJ700s or 550s at this concourse. I have seen a few, maybe one or two before, but that was like 2018. But these days they're pretty much all consolidated out of Concourse E and F and Terminal 2, like I mentioned earlier in the video. Same with the CRJ200s, and then the only regional jets you'll really see here are the E170s and E175s. But then again, the E170s and 175s, they're also pretty heavily consolidated from Concourse B and Concourses E and F. So. But because I didn't have space to do those concourses, I just squeezed them all into this concourse. So yeah, so that concludes all the planes. Let's go ahead and conclude the update as a whole. So here on this little dry erase board that I have here, this is all the routes that we covered today, all the planes we covered today. Crazy. So hopefully this video doesn't turn out as long as the previous 3 episodes, Dallas, Houston, and Rockford. Rockford was especially long. Houston was pretty long too, but hopefully this one doesn't become too long, because I don't think I talked nearly as much as I did in those videos. But thank you all so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this. This was super fun to do. I think this was my favorite one so far. If you thought this was good, if all goes to plan, if my college classes don't take up too much time, if all goes to plan, next week I am planning to bring to you all Chicago O'Hare Terminal 5. That's going to be a huge one. That's going to be twice the size of this, maybe even, probably twice the size of this. It's going to be huge. I'm hoping I can bring it to you all. I've been planning this project for such a long time, and if all goes to plan, that should be coming to you all next week. So I hope you enjoyed O'Hare Terminal 1 Concourse C. Let me know if you want regular updates of it. Thank you so much for the love on the Rockford update. That was incredible. Like I said, Rockford doesn't get a whole lot of love in real life, so really makes me happy that you all enjoyed the Rockford Airport update. Maybe I'll do more of Rockford in the future as well. But that does it for Concourse C of Terminal 1 at Chicago O'Hare. And let me know what you thought of it. Let me know what else I can do better. And again, if I can make it happen, if everything goes to plan, stay tuned for Terminal 5 coming next week. Alright everybody, thank you so much. Take care. I will see you next time. Goodbye.